friends, my name is Sankalp Chabbra. I work at Snapdeal. Took a paper and I write over there, okay, who am I? I should have brought that paper also over here. I wrote over there, who am I? And then I thought, okay, what do I write over here? What should I talk about? My failures? Should I talk about some things that I have achieved? In my personal life, what happened, or in my professional life, what happened? What is it that I could share with you? And then I felt that, okay, it's pretty a long journey of several years. So I'll pick up some things from that and tell you so that you could take it back and probably apply it in your lives. So then I thought, okay, that if I have to introduce myself in a professional world to some people, what do I usually do? So if you have to write to a particular company seeking for a job or seeking for a project or something that you want to work over there, there is something that you send to them, your resume, your CV. Over the last 1 year, 2 months, I have not updated my resume, but I still found out in my old emails and I opened it up. And I saw several bullet points written over there, which made me... So let's say this is one of the bullet points. So I've been a teacher as well from the last 12, 13 years. So I used to work, and since my college first year, I used to teach as well. I started teaching physics, then I started teaching mathematics, then I started helping people to prepare for their interviews, and eventually help them to prepare for their interviews after their graduation to get into MBA colleges, and then I started coaching people online, people outside India as well. And this is one point which I used to write over there. So mentoring to students and professionals, 18 plus countries. And I checked in the consulting case study interview space, which is a particular niche sector. I was the only Indian who was coaching people. So I wrote that over there because I felt that's pretty amazing. And I wrote over there that I have helped people get into these firms, Bain, McKinsey. How many of you heard about the firm McKinsey? All right. McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, Bain and Company. So these are like top management consulting firms, right? So I started helping candidates prepare for that, and I helped them get into those firms. So I felt this is pretty interesting, and then I searched my emails and got some testimonials as well. So this was one guy whom I helped from McKinsey Australia get over there. Another one was from Bain and Company. I coached him and he was able to crack into that. Another one was Boston Consulting Group. So these are top 3 management consulting firms. So I felt this is pretty good. But this is the result and this is the outcome of a journey. And that's what I'm here to share that with you. So this started off with me, myself, trying to look out for some consulting case studies, some interviews, etc. And I had applied to one of the interviews, and I really wanted to get into that firm. I mean, I wanted to be over there and work in that profile, and I seriously wanted it. I mean, has it happened with you that you sometimes really want that thing to come to you, right? You want that you are there, you are the one who's selected for that task, that activity, that project, that role, or some assignment. I mean, you want it to happen to you, right? I wanted that to happen to me, and I was like, even in the night when I used to sleep, it used to be there in my mind at times. So that was the level of desire that I had for one particular job, which I'm talking about 3 years earlier than all these things which I showed you. And I applied for those interviews and I went through those rounds. You know, after you go through those rounds, the HR collects the feedback from your interviewer, and then they collate the result and they tell you that, okay, are you selected or not? That's how it happens, right? Somehow what happened was that during this whole process, the feedback that my interviewer had given to the HR somehow just came to me by some mistake, or by mistake it got forwarded, or that somehow that feedback just happened to come in my hands. And this is what it read. So it said that Sankalp is too verbose, he takes too much long time to come to a point. He goes off a tangent and rambles on without answer, but critical thinking does not meet the bar. So this is what came in my hand for a position for which I really wanted to be over there. And I mean, just imagine that, okay, you wanted something so badly, and it's not just that you're not getting it, you get something in return that you are not even fit for it. You probably should forget about it. You are never going to get it. You do not meet the standards for this job. Sufficient time to prepare for it. It all got into my head so much that what I am should be good enough for me to be there. rather than understanding what is it that is required for that role to be there. So this is what I'm here to show you, to basically to share with you, that you may want something in your life, but it's not halwa that is going to come to you directly. You need to understand, you need to explore, and you need to invest yourself that what is required for me to get over there. Some of you may want to become an author. Some of you may be inspired from, let's say, some writers, Amish Tripathi, Chetan Bhagat. Some of you may want to sing. Some of you may want to probably lead a particular company and start a business. Or some of you may want to work towards a social cause. Or, I mean, every one of you may want to do something. But it's not going to happen just by thinking about it. You need to get yourself rolling out over there and start doing things so that it happens. So that's how I started, and then so when I started working towards it, after that feedback came to me, I was working in a particular company. So before I used to go for my job, and after I used to come back, I used to do this. I used to prepare for that particular role which I had missed out. And I connected with people, not only in my country, but people outside my country as well who were working for that role. And I used to have practice case studies with them to understand, okay, how can we best solve those questions that are given in those rounds. All right. So that's how my day used to look like when I was working over there. So in the morning, I'll get up at 6:30. I'll basically be ready for my 7 o'clock session. Do this from 7 to 9 with 1 to 2 people from different time zones who are from different countries. Try to match the times because I was coordinating with people who were preparing for those kinds of roles all across the world. So from US till Australia, people from different time zones, and I was working with them. Practicing case studies over Skype. I downloaded Skype on my laptop, etc. And like I just went for it. And coming back, like wrapping up after my training and my role over there at 5:30, as soon as I used to be back to my place nearby, I got back on it. And it used to continue till the end of the day. And I'm not talking about one particular day. I'm talking about the whole month. So this is what was my personal calendar, which used to look like in that month when I was preparing for it. So, and if we zoom in on one particular, like this is how it used to look like. So there is a 7 o'clock discussion, there is a 5 o'clock discussion, there is 7:30 a discussion, and there are 2 more in that day to take place. Because I mean, I realized that if I have to get over there, I'll have to get down and gain those skills that much that I am the one who is being asked for in those jobs. The point that I'm trying to tell you over here is that it is not about that particular job or that particular role or that particular profile. It is about something that you want to achieve. Only thinking about it is not going to make that happen. You have to get yourself out and you have to make sure that it comes to you. So this is the first thing which I wanted to share with all of you, that only thinking about things will not make them come to you. And you need to get down yourself and make that happen on a day by day basis, because hours add up to days and days add up to months. And that's how it will happen. This is the second aspect of the story. That story was probably more at a corporate professional job angle which I wanted to get in. This is the second aspect. So presently I'm working at Snapdeal. I lead their corporate social responsibility domain. How many of you know what is corporate social responsibility? Okay, so most of you know. So to those who do not know what it is, so every corporate has to invest some amount or some efforts towards the social responsibility side. So Tatas and Birlas have their units where they work towards education of underprivileged children or health, etc. But it is a very less phenomena in firms which will be working in this domain. And I wanted to take up that role of corporate social responsibility in Snapdeal. I got it over there and I'm working right now over there. So on a daily basis, I work with NGOs. I try to find out how could we help them, how could we run social causes. Recently, we did a program around Independence Day where we were able to send thank you cards to the soldiers of Indian Army and Indian Navy. And we were able to collect contributions for 21,000 soldiers. And those thank you cards have been distributed to soldiers in Leh, Ladakh, to soldiers in Port Blair and Army. So we were able to do that, and this is something which I'm like really very happy and very satisfied about. Previous to that, I was working with Hewlett Packard, and over there also I started picking up some roles like these. The point that I'm trying to tell over here is all this inclines towards the social part, towards the social angle, towards the social cause, be it in my present role at Snapdeal or in my previous role at Hewlett Packard HP company. And this is something which you would not see people with my age and with my educational background doing very often. So I am a graduate from Delhi College of Engineering, and I did my master's in business administration MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IIFT. And I went to HP initially in a consulting profile role. And I later on moved in this part, and I can tell you, I mean, I love doing this. I mean, I really enjoy this part. Even before, like, before I was over here, though it is a Saturday, I was working on another project that we are about to roll out. And this is not because my boss has asked me to do that. This is not because I have to report it on a Monday morning to someone. This is because I love doing it. And I like to share the story that how did this part start? How did I make a career in something which was so crucial and so important to me? So this rolls back to my days at Delhi College of Engineering. And from the first year, like I was a day scholar. I used to basically board a bus, DU special, and go to our college, attend sessions, and basically spend some time with friends and come back home. Group of friends, like there were around 8 to 10 friends, and I used to spend most of the time with them. Right? For example, when you all go to your places, how many of you are studying right now? All right. So let's say when you all go to your college, do you usually go with some selected friends who are usually on the way? How many of you do that? Right? So it is usually a group of friends with whom you go, right? When you spend your time in the break, there is again a group of friends. They may be common or different, but that's a group of friends, mostly from our own class, mostly from our own section, right? If there is a session that's not happening, if there is a mass bunk, etc., we'll again spend time with a similar group of friends. Is that true? Right? And if you notice yourselves, are those also the friends which were there, let's say, in the first year of your college? Most of them, right? First year, and then they just continue and they go ahead. And it was happening exactly the same with me. And then at some points of time, I realized that I want to attend a session, but I'm not doing that because there is no one else coming along with me. Like I wanted to go and check out that, but koi chal nahi raha saath mein, to kya karunga main jaake? So I just left that. And this happened several times. And then when this used to happen at several continuous times, I realized that I need to get out of this part. That okay, I'm going to go over there where I want to go. And it is, if I go somewhere where my friends are not going, it doesn't mean I'm a bad friend. It doesn't mean that I don't want to spend time with them. It just means that I have some interests which I want to pursue. And I want to value that feeling of mine that I have an interest towards doing something. And so the first time I got to know about, there is a concept called National Service Scheme where people can volunteer their social time. I went ahead and asked about it in my college. It was a defunct cell. There was no one working in that. It was absolutely nil bate sannata at that point of time over there. So I went over there to ask the professor, sir, I want to work on that. He said, no one works over here. And he said, why don't you go and get some friends? And when I pitched this idea to my friends, they were not much interested. So I was in a position where my friends are not interested and I don't know whom do I go and speak to. For something for which I want to do. I'm not sure how long will I do, but I want to try that. I want to have that opportunity that I'm going to go over there and spend some time and see if I like that or not. Why will I let that opportunity go away? So I picked up a paper, I wrote over there that this is happening, National Service Scheme, we are about to revive it, we are trying to educate our mess workers in the college. Anyone interested, please meet at this place at this time. I took that paper, I took the printout of it, got it photocopied, I went to the photocopy shop outside. So this is a whole phase, this whole part that I'm talking So these were the first baby steps which were happening at that time. I got that printout, I pasted it all across the college, in the hostels. I went alone all across and pasted it all over there. And in the first meeting there were around 12 people who turned up over there. And then we just got started. And I realized that one day that I used to work over there it was so full of happiness that I wanted to just continue and lead doing that part. That's what rolls back to what is my present role right now. So my present role right now, which is the corporate social responsibility, which I love doing. Because on that day at my college, I was able to take that effort that I'll stand for what I want to do. I'll not be just carried away with what just my friends want to do. So I'm over here, nothing to say against your friends, but I'm over here to tell you that you as an individual matter. And you need to figure out what is it that you like. And for that, you'll have to try out some things as well. I mean, what do I like? What do you like? It is not going to come that, okay, if someday you get up and boom, you know, this is the purpose of my life. That is not going to happen. For that, you need to get into few things, try them out, and then decide, okay, am I going to pursue this or not? And for doing that, for trying several things out, you will have to take a stand and you'll have to try those on your own. You'll have to speak to yourself that, okay, is this what I want to do? Then let me do it irrespective of if my friends are coming for that or not. Irrespective of if I have to miss a movie on a weekend for it. Irrespective of if the people around me say that why are you wasting your time over here? So you need to speak to yourself and find out one area. It could be probably you want to ride. It could be probably you want to take part in debate competitions. It could be probably you want to work as an intern at some place. It could be you want to make short films. But you need to get yourself out and start working in that direction, even if the people around you are not doing that. Because unless you start doing that, you will not have the confidence in yourself. Like Violetta was saying earlier, that how she decided to work over there at a place where her family members were not able to support her in the education, that had given the confidence for the whole life. So the experience that happened to me at my college in the third year when I started National Service Scheme, that stays with me right now as I stand over here and I speak to you. And that got me the confidence that the next year, I stood up to bring more reforms in the college, and I stood up for an election which is called the President Students Association election. You would have heard over here, right? Delhi University elections, you have seen, right? That all pamphlets flying across and all agenda and dharna, etc. all happening. How many of you have witnessed that? How many of you like that? All right. Huh? Wastage of paper. And how many of you, like the candidates who are standing? Most of us don't even care. Right, okay, we think that they are from some outside society. And I felt that, okay, if I want to work in this social positive domain, I need to stand and be a part of the system. And I decided, okay, I'm going to stand for the President of Students Association election. Until that time, there was usually a perception that people who stand for that, they're like gundas. People, it's not so easy to stand up for that position. Because usually there are groups, who are standing for that position, and they have like objectives which is very difficult to understand. What are their intentions for which they're standing? And I said, okay, I'm going to try it out. And I stood for that, and I spoke to people from my batch, from my juniors batch, and I went around them and I just kept talking, and and as it started happening, there were a lot of people who got attached. And eventually I was able to win that contest election, whatever we would like to say, and I was the president for Students Association at Delhi College of Engineering for 1 year, in which we did several other activities, and that itself was a big experience in itself. But what I'm trying to tell you is that your days at college matter for the rest of your lives. It is true that at any point of time you can bring a change. And it is true that, okay, jab aankh khule tab savera, even 5 years, 10 years down the line, if you want to do something, you'll be able to do it. Probably that's right. But what happens now, this is also very, very, very critical. The way you spend your next 1 month the way you spend your next 3 to 4 months, that is going to develop an attitude which is not easy to let go. That is going to stay with you for the rest of your life. So make sure that you use this time to the fullest in areas that you really want to pursue. And a lot of people say that we do not know what do we want to pursue. For that you need to try out and spend some time and moments in trying out some areas and then decide, okay, this is what I don't want to pursue and this is probably I want to go ahead and continue to do. So that's the second part of the story which I wanted to tell you. The first part was that you'll have to go out in the mud, expose yourself and work hard to achieve that thing. And the second story part was make sure that you're doing that in the right direction. You find out your direction by trying out some areas and build one area of direction and then proceed further into that.